What's up, everybody? It's time for another YouTube review. This time it's Tom Yong-goon. Action movie review. It's released internationally, known as Protector. Features Tony Jaa, Petchtai Wongkamlao, whom he reteams with Tony Jaa from the previous film Ong Bak. It stars Zing Jin as Madame Rose. It was directed by Prachya Pinkaew, and the fights were choreographed by Pana Ritikrai and Tony Jaa both. The film centers around Tony Jaa's character, who's descended from a group of guards who guard the king of Thailand's war elephants. This element plays well into the film, as Tony Jaa's family, his character's family in this film, are known for breeding elephants picked by royalty. Particularly white elephants represent the royal family. When Tony Jaa and his father take this elephant during an international annual festival to be expected, the elephant and the baby was instead kidnapped and taken by illegal smugglers whose operations run out of Australia. It so happens to be a triad who's run by Jing Jin's character, Madame Rose. Another plot element is Madame Rose is a transsexual gang member who's often in conflict with the rest of the family because of this. In real life, the actress who plays this character is also a transsexual, and this theme also plays into the film. Also, it stars Nathan Jones as TK, a giant wrestler, Johnny Nguyen, who plays one of the gangsters who stole the elephants, Lateef Crowder from California, who's a capoeira fighter who fights Tony Jaa in the film, and also John Fu, a wushu fighter who also fights Tony Jaa. Tony Jaa travels to Australia to get back his elephants, which is all he cares about. It is then he runs into Sergeant Mark, who's played by the same actor as I said earlier, who played Humle in Ong Bak. Sergeant Mark and Tony Jaa eventually somehow, through the course of the story, team up to take down the gangsters. That is pretty much the gist of the story. Now let's get down to the nitty gritty and talk about the action. The action is again fantastic since it features Tony Jaa, and him and the stunt team do all the stunts. And again, there's no wires and there's no CGI. Well, very limited CGI. And of course, the fight scenes that he has with Nathan Jones, Johnny Nguyen, Lateef Crowder, and John Fu are all fantastic. But the one fight scene I was particularly interested in was Lateef Crowder. Now, for those of you who don't remember, several years ago, there was a film called Only the Strong, which features capoeira, which is the martial art Lateef Crowder practices in real life and used in this film. Many people see the film as somewhat of a cult classic. Many people dislike the film because it was apparently cheesy and it was very stereotypical and things like that. But anyway, I thought it was very interesting to again see capoeira on a big screen. If anything, if Tekken was to be made into a live-action film, many people have stated on the internet Lateef Crowder would be the perfect pick to play Eddie Gordo. And again, the fight scenes are fantastic. The stunt work is great. Particularly one fight scene towards the end that everyone will like is the fact that there's a certain fight scene in which Tony Jaa faces a large amount of opponents, as most action stars in these types of films do. But in this one, instead of using the Muay Thai, that he used in the previous film, in this one he wanted to introduce an older type of Muay Thai fighting that's pretty much almost ancient and forgotten in Thailand. It was one that revolved around the movements of elephants, in which a fighter would use his arms that move around like an elephant's trunk. It's called I believe, if I get this right, the grab, crush, break, destroy technique, if I'm reciting that correctly. It's at this point one of the most brutal action sequences ever, in which Tony Jaa proceeds to break down every opponent that steps to him. And of course, there's the end fight scene with Madame Rose. I highly recommend this film, for the action at least. And also, if you pick up the Dragon Dynasty release of the DVD, you get two separate versions. One, you get the redubbed, re-edited version, which is very much shorter than the original Thailand version. But me personally, I prefer watching the Thailand version. It's much longer and it features more action sequences that are not featured in the redubbed American version. Also, certain plot elements were changed, like they all use. That's usually what happens when these types of films are imported and redubbed and re-edited. Sometimes certain key plot elements are left out and are redubbed or re-edited into a completely different story. But in this case, you get two separate DVDs, therefore it's almost literally like watching two different films. I highly recommend it. If you see it at your local video store or if a friend has it, I suggest you watch it. And if you decide to buy it, I highly recommend you do. You won't regret it. Well, that's all I got for you today. See you later.